Hey everyone, thanks for joining the live stream today. Hope you guys are doing well and happy Mother's Day. For all the moms who are either in the room or planning to join the room. So today I just have a few topics I want to talk about. I want to start off with a funny clip I saw on X today, where it was just some more purple hair politics saying that we should end Mother's Day because it's not inclusive enough. So we'll get started with that. And again, if you're new here, please don't be shy. You can definitely leave some comments. Whether that's for a question you have, a topic request, or just a general comment, I'm open to everything. It doesn't even have to be political. I saw JT's tweet, so yeah. That's pretty much all he does these days, just divide, divide, divide. It's the oldest rule in the book. Okay, I'm going to share my screen, and then we'll take a look at this crazy person. Gad Sad, who actually posted this. I don't know if you guys know who he is, but he's pretty cool. All right, let's have a listen.
But right now there is a conversation around using more inclusive language for people who give birth. Now, primarily this would be in a medical setting for the most part. So like we're talking about when doulas or gynecologists are interacting with a person who is pregnant. They might use the word birthing person instead of the word mother by default, because not every person who gives birth is a mother. Now, statistically, most people who give birth are mothers, but not all people. And I am a cisgender woman who is a mother. I've given birth to 2 children. But, mother refers to the person who is going to parent a child. And a birthing person and a mother may not be the same person. So if we're looking at cisgender women, about people who might be surrogates, they give birth, but they're not the mother. Or people whose children are adopted, they give birth, but they're not the mother. But not every person who gives birth is a woman. You have intersex people, non-binary people, and trans men.
Okay, so yeah, and again, this is more just purple hair politics, right? It doesn't even make any sense. It's just, well, here's what I feel and here's what I want to happen, and this is why. And we can't keep catering to this. I mean, I have nothing against people who want to, have a transition, or if they live a certain lifestyle, whatever, do what you want. But when you start to try, well, we need to get rid of Mother's Day because it's actually not all mothers who give birth. It's like, it's crazy. What do you guys have to say about that? I just want to quickly read what Gad Sad had to say here. Coloring Marxism, a great way to put it, proves vertical yet again. At this point, I truly don't know what else I need to do to receive Stockholm invitation to pick up my award. I'm not sure what that means, but I mean, yeah, colored hair Marxism. Yeah, it's perfect way to put it. A couple other things I wanted to talk about. I noticed Viva Frei. I'm sure you guys follow him as well. I have a clip that I want to show from him as well, so I'll get to that next. If you guys have any thoughts on that, definitely let me know, and we can definitely discuss that as well. So let me pull this up here. So it's basically a video. It's a very quick video, but it's about the government is evil. Anybody who trusts it is an idiot. So let's have a look at this as well.
Why is government good and private corporation bad? Well, private corporations seeking profit. They have very selfish interests. Oh, I'm sorry. You don't think government has equally selfish, corrupt interests? I mean, if you don't trust humans in private enterprise, why the hell would you trust those same humans in government enterprise? Like, people think you go into law and you're going to see dignified people because, after all, law is a dignified profession. Law is run by humans. And humans are both good and bad. And some humans are bad, and some humans who are bad are attracted to positions of power for bad reasons. The idea that that the government is some sort of benevolent good and that it should be as big as possible. We've seen how it works to absolutely coerce submission from a population. The more the people are dependent on the government, either for your $2,000 a month because they shut your business down, or because you're employed by the government and you can't bite the hand that feeds you, the more government control, the more control of a society, the more they can make Hitler's willing executioners because nobody can say no because it means their family and not someone else's family.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely got a great point there. I mean, as much as I think we all want Pierre Poilievre to win, it doesn't mean that he's not gonna that he's not gonna be bad as well. It's just he's likely to be better than Trudeau, right? Which is why we all want him. I know that pisses a lot of conservatives off, but you know that is the truth. You know, there's no government that is, you know, has nothing but good people in it. They all have bad people in it. And when those bad people want power, they do anything to rise to the top, get the power, and then do really shitty things like Justin Trudeau. Pierre would never want any of this. Not this. I mean, I think he's going to be better than Trudeau. Like, he's not going to freeze bank accounts. He's not going to do like the totalitarian things. But in terms of, you know, being connected to lobbyists, I'm sure he's going to be tied to big corporations. I'm sure he's going to receive, you know, big corporate funding if he hasn't already. And once you have corporate money involved in politics, the corporations are going to get what they want. So that is definitely a problem. I've been told by someone in his party, I think it was one of his secretaries called me a couple of years ago, actually, and they were just kind of wondering if I was going to, you know, vote for them or how do I feel about the party, yada, yada, yada. And that was the question that I brought up. I said, where is Pierre Poilievre's donation money coming from? And the secretary said, well, it's coming from, you know, public donations, no corporate donations. And I said, is there any way to, like, you know, show, like, is he going to show receipts of who exactly paid his donations? And I haven't seen them. I don't know if you guys have, but, you know, this is why people like me don't really trust politicians, because we know that the big money is going to fund them. It's better than coming from you. That is true. That is true. I'm just saying that when Pierre Poilievre does get in office, he's going to be much better than Trudeau, but there still will be problems. Funding a proxy war in Ukraine will be one of them. I know he's not going to pull the funding from that. Now, the woke politics, the purple hair politics, the social justice, all that shit is going to go away, thankfully. But 1 million from overseas and the Trudeau found it. Yep. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they're still funding it, though. I mean, the war, I mean, Russia's going to win, but they still keep putting money in it so that the military contractors in the United States continue to get filthy rich off of people dying. So one other thing I wanted to talk about, too, I made a video in the past kind of predicting a little bit about the 2024 election in the United States, and my prediction was that the DNC is going to remove Biden and then get either Gavin Newsom or Michelle Obama. But I thought that would have happened already, and they haven't done it. And we heard a little bit about Gavin Newsom, and, you know, his odds were rising, but I thought they would have done it at the very latest in early May, and we're getting in the middle of May and still no word. So you donate 120. Yeah, okay. See, that's the kind of donations that politicians. If politicians, you know, only got grassroots funding by us, by the people, that would be fine. It's just when big corporations get involved that I don't like it. Over teachers' pension, it was to the good. Yeah. Yeah, and Zelensky, I don't know if you've seen, like, there's been recent videos of the nightlife in Kiev. All these clubs are getting built. They're really nice, really fancy. It's like all of a sudden their economy is doing really, really well. Probably because of all the money we're sending them. So it's not really going to help Ukraine or anyone beat Russia. It's just a proxy war for them to make money. But yeah, either way, I thought Biden would be gone by now, and the fact that he's still there kind of makes me think, well, maybe they're going to wait till August when they have the DNC convention. But at the same time, August is a little bit late, right? That's why I thought they would do it earlier. So I'm starting to think now that maybe they will actually run with Biden. And, you know, recent odds came out where they were talking about, you know, who is a little more likely to be the president. It was like 45% for Trump and 33% for Biden. Right. And he's just getting killed in the polls in a lot of them. So if the Democrats want to lose, I guess they should keep running Biden. But I think they're a lot smarter than that, and probably a lot more crafty than that. And they'll figure something out, or they'll throw Trump in jail or whatever. You think Trump will win? It looks like the numbers look. It looks like he's going to win, but I mean, they're trying to throw him in jail. Like, let's just say it looks like he's going to win. Don't you think they're probably going to just say, "All right, we got some other bullshit charge." They throw him in prison. Like, basically, what I'm saying, without trying to say make certain allegations, is that I don't think they'll ever let him in the White House again. Make of that what you will. I know YouTube has some pretty strict rules on what you can say about elections, but I don't think he'll ever be allowed in office again. Well, they want you to worry about Trump being president because he's, 10% anti-establishment. And, when he says things like the military industrial complex, or I'm going to release the missing 3% of the JFK files, the establishment, the three-letter agencies that really run the country don't like that. You're not supposed to talk about the military industrial complex. You're not supposed to talk about JFK or any conspiracy like that because they're dangerous, apparently. Yeah, dangerous to the establishment, because if we find out all this shit is true, maybe there's a revolt. HRC replaces Kamala. Who's HRC? I feel like I should know that. Oh, Hillary Clinton. Oh, that would be a nightmare. I really hope you're wrong, Patrick. Thanks for joining, by the way. Appreciate you having you in the live stream to cover these topics. But yeah, if Hillary Clinton really replaced Kamala Harris, that would be a disaster. But then again, if Trump picks Tulsi Gabbard to be his VP, we would see a debate between Tulsi Gabbard and Hillary Clinton, and that would be hilarious. I mean, Hillary Clinton would get absolutely trashed in a debate. I mean, really with anyone, but especially with someone like Tulsi Gabbard. All right, I'm just going to check, see if there's a polling update as well. Oops. Federal. Okay, let's check out over here. Conservatives 44, Liberals 24, NDP 17. Yeah, there's no changes so far. Projected majority for Pierre Poilievre at 220. That's also still the same. Odds of outcome, Conservative majority 99%. Love to hear it. But yeah, there's not really any updates to talk about there. It's just kind of steady. They'll probably come out with some updated information very shortly, probably sometime this week. But isn't it kind of wild that if you combine the Liberals and the NDP, they're not that far back. They would have 41 points, which basically means that if the NDP didn't exist and all these people went back to the Liberal Party, it would be close. Like, that freaks me out, the fact that 40% of voters would still consider and actually vote for this guy. That's a lot of libtards, folks. Don't have to marry the party, just start the pendulum swing. Yeah, that's correct. That's basically what I'm doing. I'm not a conservative person. A little bit more closer to the center. I used to when I was a kid, I was pretty far left, but the far left has become something different now. So, but yeah, you're right. You don't have to love the party, but you got to get Trudeau out of there. And the fact that 40% of voters are thinking, no, I want Trudeau out of there, but I'll take Singh, who's even worse. And they think that Pierre Poilievre is the worst option. It's crazy. Their numbers are dropping. Everyone is choked. Yeah. It would make me a lot more comfortable, though, if the Liberal number started to drop and the NDP started to drop a little bit more, just because, again, 40%, it just blows my mind that 40% of voters. Now, that being said, to be fair, people like me who don't vote every time or who don't take polls, more independent people, more libertarian people, more kind of center of the road people don't take polls very often. And those people who vote are almost unanimously going to be voting for Pierre Poilievre. So when the election actually happens, you might see this 44% jump up to around 50%. I hope so. That's just some optimism, because it's still like, I can't figure it out, like how I mean, a lot of people don't follow politics or know much about politics, and they hear something on the news and they go, oh, well, it must be true. Trudeau compared to Pierre Poilievre to Trump. Must be true, I guess. And they don't really look into it or give any examples how he's like Trump. But, it's their talking point, and that's what they're going to try to do to swing people's opinion back over to their favor. But it's not working. I mean, this was weeks ago, and there's been multiple poll updates, and Pierre Poilievre hasn't lost a stride, so. See if they have any other information here. Okay, so this is actually pretty interesting too. So if Pierre Poilievre gets to 220 seats, even if the Liberals, the Bloc, and the NDP all got together, they wouldn't have anywhere near 220 seats. Which is good. It really shows you that Canadians are sick and tired of this liberal, woke, horseshit, purple hair politics, and we're going to get into conservative politics. And not just that, but a majority, and a big one at that. The caucus in the House of Commons is going to be hilarious when you just see just this massive crowd of conservatives, and the Liberals and the Bloc and the NDP are all sitting in the corner. That's going to make me happy. They are seeing record immigration, and it's sad many people will need to go or sleep in a tent. Well, and the thing is too, a lot of people who are coming here, they're coming here for school or whatever, just for like a vacation, and they're like, maybe we've always heard that we can have a better life over in the West, over in Canada, and they come here for a month and they're like, I'm going back home. I got to get a job at Tim Hortons and make $16 an hour and then pay $1,500 for a 1-bedroom apartment. That's not a good life. They're going to go back to whichever country they migrated from, right? 99% of getting to 20. I have not seen that. Yeah, I've never seen anything like this before, but I haven't been following politics that long, to be honest with you. I think in one of the elections when Stephen Harper won, he won a majority, but I don't think it was this high. And I mean, 220, as Canada continues to fall and get worse and worse financially, I honestly think that could get close to 250. That seems an insane amount, but Canada's not going to get better with this clown in office, right? So people are going to get more and more pissed off. How many more Liberals and NDP supporters say, you know what, enough's enough? Liberal Party, the NDP Party have screwed me for too long. I'm going over to the other side because I can't afford this anymore. $3,500 in Vancouver, yeah. I mean, Toronto, I don't know the exact numbers in Toronto, but it must be insane there too. Vancouver and Toronto, Montreal, they're huge hotspots for immigration because they're the big cities, right? Everyone has a dream. They want to go to a big city. It's more access to things. You don't need a car. Everywhere you need to go, you can either go through, the bus or the TTC, and they have big cities are way more accessible. So if you move to a small town, you don't have a car, you don't have any money, it's going to be really hard for you to get where you need to go. But yeah, you really could see 225, 230, 240 seats for the Conservatives. And let's see. Popular vote projection, yeah, it's the same thing. 44%, but again, I can see that going much higher. But look at the decline from the Liberals here. I mean, they was kind of like back and forth a little bit. And then ever since, looks like late 2023, the Conservatives really started to kind of gain some separation. And then in the past 6 months, it's just the Liberals are getting wiped off the map. Okay, these are just graphs breaking down the stat we saw earlier. All right, I'm just going to check, see if we got any updates here. Twitter. Expensive, crazy car insurance. Yeah, and I remember being, 18, 19 years old and having just some, I think, what was my car then? I think it was like a 2003 Pontiac Sunfire, and my insurance was $300 a month. Yeah, it's like, well, you're a young driver, but I also had insurance. I also took the driving course, which was supposed to take like 12% off or 15% off of your insurance, and it was still $300 just to drive an average car. All right, let me share back over Twitter and check some updates here. Oops. Wow, yeah, it's insane, man. Not to mention how much crazy expensive gas is. Excuse me. And if you have car payments, right? Like if you're paying $100 a month for insurance and 250 for the car payment, and then another couple $100 for gas at least, or 250, or maybe even 300. It's $850 a month just to have a inexpensive, cheap car. That's not cheap. Plus 1,500 in rent, plus 200-300 a month for groceries. You can't live off of an average wage out here anymore. It's insane. Canadians who did everything we told them to, go to school, get a good job, work hard, still can't afford a home after 9 years of Trudeau. Yep. And that's the thing too. Like even if you go on like Indeed or somewhere like that and you try to look for a job, there are jobs where it's like they'll pay you $40,000 for an entry level job and you need a bachelor's degree. So you got to go to school, get in debt, get a job that's not going to pay you enough. And often you're on salary in these types of jobs, unless you're like in a junior position. But even then, if you're not in a junior position, your salary goes up to 50 grand before taxes. That should be a good salary. You should, if your take home is, what, 2,700 bucks a month. I mean, that should get you a decent life. Gets you poverty these days. In prairies, it was way cheaper until the car wealth transferred to Africa. The car wealth transferred. I've actually never heard that. If you have a link, you can send that either here in the comments or you can just message me on X, whatever you like. But I've never heard of that before. And again, if you're just joining the stream or if you're new to the channel, don't be afraid to comment. Any comment is welcome. A general comment, question, topic request, whatever you like, and it doesn't have to be political. And this is something I know I covered a little bit before, but Pierre Poilievre, brought it up. He said Jagmeet Singh's top spokesman and brother's company is a lobbyist for grocery giant. What a hypocrite! Is what Is that why grocery prices are up 12% since Singh gained power in the Trudeau government? And Singh's the one saying, "Hey, we need to stop helping these big corporations. We need to tax them more. We need their prices to go down." But yet, ever since he's been in power, 12% increase. Stolen vehicles going to the ports. There are fields in Nigeria with cars with Canadian plates. Really? Northern Lights. I haven't seen any of these Northern Lights. I saw a bunch of people posting it on Facebook and Twitter, but yeah, I haven't seen much at all. I will send it to you later. Yeah, perfect. I'd love to see that. I've never heard of that. I'd definitely like to have a look and see what's going on. I know like we have like a lot of people from like, Morocco and Nigeria migrating to Canada, and a lot of these people when they come here, they're seeing the state and they're saying, "Well, Nigeria is much better. I'm going to go back to Lagos." And I've met a few people like that. They said, "Hey, I don't know how you guys are surviving out here. I came here for a better life, but it's actually better back home." And then they go back home. Okay, let's take a look at what Pierre Poilievre had to say here.
Chains. Stop giving millions of dollars to corporate grocery stores. When will the Liberals, when will the Prime Minister stop giving big grocery a free ride?
The answer, of course, is that he voted to let the Prime Minister do that. Not a single penny of that money could have gone without the vote of the NDP coalition partner. We learned something else, that this might have been due to the influence of the NDP leader's spokesman and brother, whose company is a lobbyist for Metro.
Look at those two clowns shaking hands. But yeah, he's right. I mean, Jagmeet Singh is a gigantic hypocrite who talks out of both ends of his mouth. He criticizes the Liberals for for helping support big grocer and big companies, but yet his own brother's a lobbyist. And like Pierre said, groceries are up 12%. My phone pillow has more memory than Joe Biden. Yeah. So thanks for Valiant Thor. Thanks for joining the stream. What do you think about the DNC? Are they going to pull Joe Biden, or do you think they're going to run with him? A society can't survive when the government encourages dependence on them. That's correct. Discourages faith and hard work, ambition, independence, and the ability to take care of yourself. That's absolutely correct. When a big government, or when the government gets too big and they have too much control and power, the worse your life is going to get. And people think, well, no, because everything's going to be cheap and we'll get to share the profits. No. You're going to share the crumbs that they give you. If you give the government that much power, what do you think they're going to do to their rich buddies who donated all that money? You think they're going to screw them over? No, they're going to screw us over. So you're absolutely right, Valiant. There's new technology. You can copy a fob from 25 feet away. Really? Yeah, that's it's scary stuff. When you think about how powerful technology has gotten. And then you think about things like AI and all these videos that people can make. It wouldn't surprise me, especially how quickly AI is getting better, if Trudeau's team sort of made some fake video of Pierre Poilievre doing some shady shit, and then just posting it and letting the CBC take with it, and they'll do the same thing in the States with Trump. Look what your president did. Look what your prime minister, your future prime minister wants to do. You can't have that, so vote Trudeau. And that kind of stuff could swing elections. I remember when you guys remember when they first came out with the deep fakes? There was a comedian named Bill Hader, and he was doing impressions of Arnold Schwarzenegger and Al Pacino. And when he started talking like Arnold Schwarzenegger, a lot of his facial structure changed. And it was AI making him look like a mix of himself and Arnold Schwarzenegger. And then when he talked like Al Pacino, his face started to look more like Al Pacino. And it was so subtle. It looked like he was making a face, but he wasn't. It was just AI. It's crazy. Here's what he thinks: we should not spend hundreds of thousands to extend life for a few months. Yeah. The applied science we use in the black budget world is hundreds of years ahead of any technology publicly available. I will try to give you an example. Yeah, I'd love to hear more about that as well. I'm just going to check Twitter here for some updates. Usually when I check Pierre Poilievre's Twitter, there's a lot of people trashing him, but I guess they're busy for Mother's Day or birth person's day, whatever they call it. Fucking idiots. I know Jordan Peterson's been really getting involved too with politics. He's had some great things to say about Justin Trudeau. When a brilliant mind has a thought, intention, or idea in their brain with magical insights that is world changing, the black budget world already knows we have technology at that level of spyware. Yes, I watched China's digital dystopian. Yeah, that is crazy. I mean, they got cameras everywhere with like face ID recognition and their social credit score and all that. And I think a lot of people. Oh shit! It looks like your message. Are you deleting your messages, or is that someone else? Yeah, you too, Valiant Thor. Thanks for joining, man. Really appreciate it, and I'll see you next time. I think he was just retracting his messages because, rightfully so, he's probably a little bit paranoid about who's watching and what people could try to do. Like he said, like there's spyware everywhere. They could be watching any channel, and then if the channel gets big enough, they definitely do shadow ban. They definitely do unsubscribe people from channels. I know the pleb. I don't know if you guys follow him, but uh, for about a month straight, every time I would go to his channel, I was unsubscribed, and I had to resubscribe every single time because YouTube had a glitch where, of course, bigger conservative channels or even just non-liberal channels, you'll get unsubscribed. There's another guy, the Legion of Men. I think he talks a lot about like dating. Bo Refek is the guy who runs the channel, and out of nowhere they just started like demonetizing him, and it took him like a few weeks just to get back. Now he makes pretty good money on YouTube, I'm sure, so I'm sure he wasn't hurting too bad. But you know, if this is your mainstream of income, and they just screw with you, and you're making 3-4 grand a month, you know that could really deter people from being monetized or trying to get monetized on YouTube. By the way, the White House is officially the most expensive nursing home in America. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's always some old fart that gets into office. And even when they're pretty young, like Obama, when they get out of office, they look so much older. It's crazy. So what do you think? Like, do you think the DNC is actually going to end up pulling Biden in August, or do you think they're going to run with him? I still kind of think they want Michelle Obama to run. I was just curious if you think that they're going to keep Joe Biden as the DNC candidate, like the Democratic candidate, or if they're going to replace him with someone else. Keeping him? Yeah, it looks like my prediction is going to be wrong. I really thought they would have done it by now, but I just don't know what their plan is. Like, if like he's getting killed in the polls so badly, and he's losing a lot of the black vote. He's going to get still 60 to 65%, but no Democratic president since the 60s, I believe, has won the federal election with less than 80% of the African American vote. So, I mean, that's horrible news for him. Not to mention, young people are kind of moving away from the DNC as well. That's their saves. But you think so? I would have thought that Gavin Newsom, as much as I hate Gavin Newsom, he is much more. Oh, he's much younger. He can speak way better. He's not a bad debater, and he has thick skin. Where Joe Biden, I mean, they're not going to let him debate, but if they did, that would be a disaster. Not to mention, I think Michelle Obama could probably restore some of the black vote as well. Maybe not. A lot of people are recognizing that their life was a lot better with Trump in office before COVID hit. Let me see what else I have here. I see the 10 cities are getting worse and worse everywhere, too. Mary Simon should be dissolving parliament. Trump said we are not shutting our economy off. I mean, Mary Simon does have the power to do that. I mean, she can also call an election, too, but I mean, she's also a liberal appointee, and I'm very, very confident that she's very liberal herself. 99.68% survival rate. Yep, the chaos for this was insane. Absolutely. And you know what? I think it's even higher than 99.68 because not everyone who had COVID was tested with COVID. Or they tested for COVID. So a lot of people that they don't even know about were walking around with COVID, didn't even feel it, let alone were passing away from it. So, I mean, so few people were actually affected by this, and the ones that were and the ones that got sick for the most part were either already sick or very old. Yeah, well, you know, the thing is, like, I'm going to say the V word to replace the certain medication, but I mean, a lot of people were saying, you know, like the V word is so much better for than any other form of medication. And remember when they slandered Joe Rogan for taking ivermectin? And then you even have someone like Chris Cuomo, who criticized Rogan for that, has now come out and said that he's vaccine injured. And now we find out that AstraZeneca, their V word, their medication, caused blood clots. Now, being said, is it really just AstraZeneca? If Pfizer's vaccine, V word, got caught causing blood clots, would they even say anything about it? Or would they cover it up? Hey, you never had COVID? Yeah, I didn't have COVID either. It was probably the last one to get the medication. I only got 2 shots, no boosters. but I take testosterone, I take vitamin D, and my own doctor told me that that's way better than any other medication for COVID. So yeah, I know a lot of people who are still getting their boosters, and I don't know. There's probably people out there walking around with 10, 12, 15 shots. So I asked a couple questions in my polling section, in the community section on my page. The last one I asked, let's just refresh this here. Will Justin Trudeau try to play dirty to win the next election? 130 votes, 98% said yes. So yeah, I think that's what people are acting. And then I asked, will RFK Jr. get on the ballot in all 50 states? 87 votes, 56% said yes, which, yeah, that's definitely not so for sure. But he is gaining ballots on the states, Oklahoma, on California, and I expect some other smaller states very shortly as well. I got a shot because I worked at school. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Some people were forced to take it, or else you lose your job, which is ridiculous. Normal people would not care if you took. Yeah, that's right, and that's the thing too. Like I lost, I wouldn't say a lot of friends, mostly acquaintances, because it was so divisive, and they were so scared. They just couldn't handle people not wanting to take a certain medication because they thought, well, if you don't, then you're going to get someone sick, and my grandma's going to get sick, and all that nonsense. And I can't associate myself with people who are that much of a sheep. Like if you really just believed all that shit and still believe it, I can forgive you if you don't believe it anymore because you woke up. The part of your brain that allows you to think critically is not being affected by fear anymore. RFK Jr. Quoted that actually. He said that the part of your fear disables the part of your brain that allows you to think critically. So I understand, especially early on in the pandemic, if you were scared and you said some things and then you go, I shouldn't have said that. But there's a lot of people who still think masks work. There's a lot of people who still think social distancing worked or that it worked enough. And it's just, I don't want to be around people like that. Shot made my lips swell like Angelina Jolie. Looked okay, but burned so bad. Oh, wow. I haven't heard of that side effect before, having your lips swell up like that, but hopefully you're all right now. People were going on first dates over Zoom. Yeah. It makes no sense. If a person had the medication, they were not at risk. Yeah. They said if you got the medication, you could not get the virus and you could not spread the virus. And obviously that was bullshit. I know people, I'm not kidding, who got the medication, got COVID, obviously spread it to other people who then got COVID, and they still believe the medication worked. It's insane. I just wonder if something like that happens again, how many people will be sheep? Because if you just had, 20% of people just refuse to wear a mask, that whole 2 week to stop the spread or to stop the curve, whatever they said, that was just to test us to see if we would fall for their bullshit law and order. If 20% of people said, no, I'm not wearing a mask, get out of my way, I'm going into the store, they don't have enough people to chase, a bunch of people around a mall trying to get them to wear a mask. So they would have ended it. But they saw that the sheep were going to sheep, and then when they see that, that's when the wolves come in to feast, and that's what they did. And so many people were affected by this mentally, financially. Small businesses closed down. Corporations grew rapidly in profit. Another thing that Jagmeet Singh and Trudeau both supported. So that's another example of how they don't give a shit about big corporations making money because they make rules and policies that help them make more money by shutting down their competition. Yeah, there's a lot of people. Oh, I don't care how many vaccine or medications or shots they tell me to get. I'll get all of them. And it's like, really? Ask them now to see if they'll get an AstraZeneca shot. Oh, right, they can't because it's not available anymore because they took it off the market because it wasn't really medication. We transferred wealth to rich people under the gut. Yep. Yeah, it was the biggest transfer of wealth in the history of finance. It was just, I mean, that stuff was already planned anyway, but this just expedited it to the point where you just couldn't do anything about it. And people were saying that if you open your small business, you should be arrested. It's just full blown communism. It's what some people want. It was planned. Yeah. Yeah. Once they saw that there was a plan, or once they saw that there was an issue, they knew that they could just shut everything down and just tell us a bunch of horse shit. The wet market. Remember when people were saying that? You get COVID from bats or some shit. It's just crazy to me. And again, people still believe it. They don't think that there's as much corruption in the world as there really is, right? And when you're that naive and you just don't understand this level of corruption or think that it's a little bit corrupt, but it's okay. It's not like they're killing people. It's like politicians have had people killed from the dawn of politics. So I mean, it's been corrupt the whole time. It's going to stay corrupt the whole time, unless we stand up, unite, and do something about it. Peacefully, of course, YouTube. People got taken out of the Tokyo Olympics who were supposed to medal. Really? Tucker's interview with Trudeau brother was pretty great. I haven't seen that yet, but I'm definitely going to be watching that tonight because remember when a lot of people would say, well, I don't like Robert Kennedy Jr., and I'm a liberal. Why don't you like him? Well, because his family doesn't even like him. But those same people support Trudeau, and yet his family doesn't like him either. What's the difference? Like, see how these liberals, they don't even make sense anymore. It's just, they're so hypocritical. Just talking out of their ass and their mouth at the same time. Oh, did you see it already too, Two Flips? I was actually looking up that video up on Twitter, and I was going to play it, but it's 51 minutes, so I thought we better not do that. Yeah, I'll be watching that tonight and see what happens. But yeah, that's probably gonna be pretty funny. I saw Bill Maher had one of his podcasts all today, and Bill Burr's on it, so I'll be watching that too. Trudeau's brother is for Kennedy. Oh, is he? That's good. So he is smart. He's the smart brother in the family. Okay. Yeah, I really wish more people would go for Robert Kennedy. He's by far the best presidential candidate we've ever had in my life. I don't know how old you guys are, but I'm 35, and well, oddly enough, in 1988, the year I was born, Joe Biden was actually running for president that year until he had to back out because he got caught lying so much. Here we are almost 40 years later, and they think he's fit to be president now. I wonder if there's any clips that we can play here from that interview. 59 minutes. Okay, yeah, people are just reposting. Tara Reid. That name sounds. Isn't she one of the women who accused Bill Clinton of something? Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong name. Who thinks Tucker Carlson and Joe Rogan are media legends? Well, I think that's pretty safe to say. Did you watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in the 90s? Yeah, I did, for sure. Tucker is asking, should we tolerate this next door? It must have made our politicians so shook. Americans will not sit by. They are furious. Yeah, well, the thing is, though, a lot of Americans also like Justin Trudeau, just like they like Joe Biden. Although a lot of people, to be fair, just like Joe Biden because they hate Trump. But what Democrats really need to do is they need to start moving over to Robert Kennedy, since he's the only actual Democratic candidate in the race. Just to send a message to the DNC, smarten up. You had this guy. You had Tulsi Gabbard. You could have ran with them and mopped the floor with Trump. But you chose to run Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden because you're establishment, you're pro-war, you're pro-CIA, you're pro-corruption, you're pro-censorship, just completely evil. And that's why they push people like Robert Kennedy Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard out of their party. It's disgusting. I mean, Trump would never have been president if they ran Tulsi Gabbard in 2016. She would have won the rematch for sure. And then now you have Robert Kennedy to take her place. I mean, they could have had it. And they could have made things so much better for a lot of people. But instead they decided, no, can't do that. Got to be pro-establishment instead. Got to screw the middle class so that our corporate donors can have the best life possible while there's people living in tents. And I'm not saying that, I'm not a communist where we should be, sharing the wealth. However, there should be some sort of, like the company that I used to work for used to have profit sharing, where every quarter they would give you like a 5% bonus of whatever they made. That's fair, right? It doesn't have to be an equality of wealth, but if you're a company that's thriving, you should give a bonus to your workers because they helped you make so much more money, right? I said America is not ready for a female president. I kind of like her. I don't know if America is quote unquote unready or not, but they certainly weren't ready for Hillary Clinton. I mean, she won the popular vote, so it was, she could have won, but she was just such an unlikable disaster of a person, where Tulsi Gabbard is so much more likable than her. Plus, she's younger. She's way more intelligent. She's a pretty woman. She's very smart. She's got military background. I think a lot of even Republican supporters, especially ones who don't like Trump that much, would have definitely jumped ship over to Tulsi Gabbard. I said Trump will win. People were like, no, that will never happen. Yeah, I said the same thing. I was like, when I was watching this was the first election I ever really paid attention to in 2016. And when I saw that Trump was about to win and that Hillary Clinton conceded and all of her supporters were crying, I was just like, what just happened here? But it happened. It was great. You were a communist in high school, okay. Then a lib. So as you've gotten older, you've gotten more conservative, right? That's how it is for most people, I think. Delicious red pill. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people are taking the red pill over the blue pill. What's the black pill, by the way? That's more like being like a Sigma, isn't it? Yeah, we need to not be bothered with. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's the thing. We need to figure out a way to get the CCP the hell out of our politics. They got their own country to run. They can run that country. Also, let me see if I can find an article. There was Wisconsin. You guys watch Patrick Bet David? He had a very interesting story yesterday where they pulled up an article where he was showing something about the ballots after the last election in Wisconsin, I believe. Maybe not. Let me pull this up and maybe I can just share the video with you guys. I was checking this out last night. Let's see if I can find it again here quickly. Sorry for the delay. I should have had this ready. I didn't think I was going to bring this up. Sorry, I'll get it here. Okay, let's pull up Valuetainment and see if I can find that video. Oh, here we go. Sorry, it was in Georgia. Okay, let me see if I can find this here or pull this video up, and then I'll share my screen. It's kind of a long video, but I'll see if I can fast forward and move through this as fast as possible. So it wasn't Wisconsin. It was actually Georgia. I have a feeling if we see the army, it will most be Chinese. Yeah, maybe. I heard they're doing that in the States where they're letting these, the illegal immigrants in, and they're essentially saying they want them to sign up for the military, which our military could never control Canada, and I'm sure they realize that. Yep, absolutely not. Not big enough, not powerful enough. Okay, let me share this video here. Okay, so this video is called 380,000 ballots missing. So YouTube, this is not my opinion. I'm just reacting to a article read on the Valuetainment podcast.
Milwaukee Election Commission Executive Director Claire Woodall was fired on Monday in an unexpected shakeup in the most populous county in the battleground, Wisconsin, 6 months before an election day, which is really, really weird. Claire Woodall is leaving just 2 months after a grand jury found her former deputy, Kimberly Zapata, guilty of official misconduct and election fraud charges. Let that sink in, everybody. They're doing fraud in Wisconsin and having her obtain fake absentee ballots. Zapata had claimed she was trying to expose the vulnerabilities in Wisconsin's elections. She was saying, Tom, that she was a whistleblower. She was sentenced last week to probation and a $3,000 fine. So this goes to Peter Berniger. He's like one of the biggest voices right now that's involved with this whole case. He's an independent investigative journalist and president of Election Watch Incorporated. He has brought 18 lawsuits against election clerks and offices in the state court. He tweeted this yesterday. Rob, can you go to the tweet? He tweeted, Claire Woodall, Vogue fired. She is, parentheses, was the most corrupt election clerk in Wisconsin. I took her sworn deposition in a lawsuit I filed against her as Milwaukee City election clerk. She printed, and here, listen what he's saying. She printed 64,000 ballots in the back conference room of City Hall, room 501, for the November 3rd, 2020 election. She had city employees and other CTCL fill out some of those on the 4th, 6th, and other floors of City Hall. Then kicked out observers around 10 to 10:30 p.m. on November 3rd. Then brought a large amount of ballots at 1:15 a.m. on November 4th. Okay, now, Tom, if you, can you go back to the letter the email? This is an email that he posted.
Can you zoom in, Rob, with this?
Yeah,
This is November 4th, 2020.
Yes, and this is an email of Claire on election night talking about delivering the margin.
Karina Gould, I know she went to your high school, but she is not a good person with good character, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, she was a year ahead of me. I don't really know her very well at all, but I do remember being in high school with her. But yeah, I don't have a very high opinion of her politics, that's for sure.
Needed to flip the state
4
for Trump.
a.m.?
Yeah, so Tommy, check this out. So this is an exchange her coworker Ryan Chu from Election Group said to Claire, "Damn, Claire, you have a flair for drama, delivering just the margin needed at 3 a.m. I bet those votes counted at midnight and just wanted to keep the world waiting." Now, if you go now, Robbie, go to that chart. If you guys compare this timestamp to the email exchange and take a look at the graph timeline, Milwaukee had a 140,000 ballot dump around the same time, which statistically favored Joe Biden and push him ahead. That's right around that time. If you see at the bottom, that's 6.
Here, I'll make this full screen for a second, but look at that. Did you guys see that too? They said they stopped counting the votes and Trump had a lead, and then all of a sudden, just bang. At 4 in the morning. You think liberals were suspicious of that? They were not. If Donald Trump won that way, what would they be saying? We all know what they'd be saying.
And that's going back to 4 o'clock. So just so you guys know the vote totals, Biden was 1,630,866.
Oh, so it's important for you to show. Hang on one second.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at Rob, stay on that. So what you're saying is the blue that's climbing with the red is Trump. Trump is ahead.
Yep.
Blue is behind. And boom, at 4 a.m., that hockey
Spikes.
stick up is what caused him to win.
It spikes. Yeah, it spikes. And now, where's my second part?
And this chart is from Edison Research. So this, wow.
Yeah, well, everybody does remember that night. You don't remember that night? Everybody went to sleep. Everybody's like, yo, Trump is going to win. And then, boom, that jumped up. So now the same guy, the Berniger guy, he, and I have, Rob, you have the letters that I sent you? This is Berniger.
Zoom in a little bit, Rob, if this is the one, Vinny.
So, yes, sir. This is Pete Berniger. This is him claiming this, that this is a letter from Sheriff Dar Leaf, the Honorable. He's sending this to Scott Perry, the dear congressman. He says, please be advised, Sherry's office has an open investigation for several years related to the election law violations. My office recently reviewed the evidence related to this investigation that requires immediate review from Congress. And this is what he says. I'm attaching documents directly from Dominion voting systems that demonstrate lack of truthfulness and transparency when testifying before Congress in January 2020 following the January 20 hearings. Congress specifically requested information from Dominion regarding the percentage of Chinese parts that are used in the Dominion brand election equipment. Dominion failed to disclose to Congress to the motherboard in the election equipment is not only sourced from China, but it is tested in China. And you could go on to read that. Now, the next one, Rob, is the Georgia one.
Wait, can you zoom in there? What else is in the letter? Zoom in a little bit more.
I can read the whole thing.
The desire to zoom in hide this information from some Assistant Director of FBI Counter has stated China's manufacturing can be profited. So again, additionally, testing and modifications are taking place in China on Dominion brand firmware from HP printer provided by Dominion to local clerks. Dominion further failed to disclose to Congress that Dominion employee Andy Huang, formerly from the Chinese Telecom, which is owned by the Chinese Communist Party, was given authority and access to reset the servers on U.S. election equipment remotely from Canada. As you know, the FCC issues orders to show.
Isn't that crazy? They reset the software remotely from Canada. It's another reason we probably shouldn't have the Chinese government or Chinese spy involved in our politics. So I'm going to keep playing this video. I'm going to take a short break and I'll just be right back. But I'll keep playing this so that you guys can listen.
On April 24, 2020, against China's telecom, stating there is a deep concern as to the vulnerability to the exploitation, influence, and control of the Chinese Communist Party, given they are subsidiaries of Chinese state-owned entities.
And the last page says, unfortunately, the national security concern continues. Dominion failed to disclose the use of Huawei phones utilized in the Serbian employees, the same Serbian employees remoting into the U.S. election system during the U.S. elections. Now, the second one, Robbie, is that video from Georgia. Georgia State Elections Board held an important hearing 2 days ago. Fulton County double scanned ballots, and they didn't keep the required ballot images as required by Georgia law. 380,000 ballot images are missing in Fulton County, and this is them at the board. Go ahead, Rob, play that.
Does the investigation confirm that there are missing ballot images?
Yes. Missing. Weird.
Do you know why 380,761 ballot images from Election Day machine count are not available?
What?
We subpoenaed Fulton County for all of their ballot images. We received approximately 518,000 ballot images.
From Election Day?
Those are for the recount.
Those are from the recount, but we have no ballot images for 380,761 ballots from Election Day, correct?
Rob, go to the audio and lower a little bit on that.
What was subpoenaed was the ballot images for the recount because that's what this case was about, not the election day.
This is
Does Fulton County know why there are not 380,761 ballot images from Election Day?
she's asking the same question.
Say it again to somebody else. To somebody else, PBD.
As with the investigators, we have not been apprised of this allegation. This is the first I'm hearing about it. I have no idea what the basis of that allegation is, and so we would have to. We can't answer that.
We can't answer that. So no accountability.
Would Fulton County agree that every vote should have a ballot image?
So, and PBD,
Are
this is,
you kidding? This is when?
this is 2 days ago. And mind you guys, and I'm gonna say again, this guy, Peter Barnago, he has 18 lawsuits against them. They're literally claiming that the proof is in the paper ballots, but this is a way longer video, and they're refusing to let anyone see. So the fact that that girl from this is Wisconsin, this is Georgia. These are all those key places, and now it's 2024. All this stuff is coming to light. Is it too late? Is anything gonna happen, Tom?
So let me ask, if I'm going to summarize, and I want to make sure that I understand what you just said.
Yes.
Georgia state law and the Georgia Election Board was there testing because they're supposed to have all the ballots that come through digital. They're supposed to be an image of all those ballots.
Yes.
Sort of as rather than having all the paper ballots sitting around, they have digital images of all votes counted.
Correct.
When they did the recount, they suddenly can't find images for over 300,000 votes.
Yeah.
So they can't validate the recount by going one-to-one image, vote Biden, image, vote Trump, back and forth. They can't do that. And the board is asking multiple questions, and people are actually giving bad answers. No, we don't have it, with no explanation. Is that what I just saw?
That's exactly what you just saw.
So Georgia cannot validate with its own law requirement to have images of all those ballots. They cannot validate the recount.
You saw it right in front of you.
They can only use the digital numbers.
That's what he just said.
Yeah. So that no, he's verified. No, it's unbelievable.
I get it, but what I'm this is. So what are your thoughts on this, Adam? You hearing this?
I trust whatever Vinny found out. I don't need to fact check it.
Well,
I don't need a counter argument. If you saw it, I believe.
Can I ask you a question?
I'm actually not even being sarcastic. Like I'm.
Well, I mean, I
believe you did your research, and I don't know this story.
Well,
I'm not going to comment on it.
Well,
it's not something I followed, and I'm not going with my gut. If you've done your research, I trust it.
And just
there is one other point that Vinny, I think is in that.
What?
Fulton County, like Milwaukee, was a late hour catch-up.
Donald Trump said, I'm worried about this late night. By the way, guys, if every dollar bill has a serial number, every vote can have a freaking serial number on it. We need to know, why does it take so many days? All these other countries, Pat, I forgot which one that you said. There was like a 20 million something votes. They did it in one day. This whole late night, we go to sleep. We don't know what's happening. If we let this continue, guys, you're going to keep waking up in the morning and they're going to say, whoops, Joe Biden, the most popular president in the world. It always felt wrong to me.
Okay, I think that's good enough for this video here. You get to the gist of the point, though. It's kind of crazy how that happened and no one was suspicious about it. Sean Fraser allegedly said Trudeau is getting effing annoying. Even Sean Fraser, huh? Treason is 25 years in jail. Yeah, and a lot of people think that Justin Trudeau did commit treason. Let's get the exact definition here. The crime of one's country, especially by attempting to kill the sovereign or overthrow the government. Well, he's definitely betrayed the country. So yeah, you could definitely make the argument for treason. I saw true evil and rage in Freeland's eyes. The blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. It was chilling. I like her. She'd be a fun time, in my opinion. She should turn. I can't stand Chrystia Freeland. She can't stop twitching either. What's up with that? She withdrawing from something, or what the hell's happening? You have to report all treason. Yeah. Not to mention, I mean, Trudeau's already in trouble for invoking the Emergency Act during the convoy. The federal court, agrees with me that that was against our rights in the Charter of Rights. That essentially is our Constitution. So it definitely was not constitutional. He's going to appeal it, of course, but hopefully the Supreme Court doesn't get influenced by anything, and hopefully they make the right decision. And he could absolutely be facing jail time for that. It's not her fault she has mild Tourette's. Oh, okay, I didn't know that. Okay. Normally I would feel bad, but she's part of the evil that is the Trudeau cabinet, and she's one of the biggest and most powerful members of it. It's not eternal. Yeah, I know. I wonder if that's why she always puts her hand on her hip too when she talks. When she's not being a bobblehead for Justin Trudeau. Kind of like Karina Gould, right? I think she did gymnastics as a child. She is very short. Yeah. But remember when David Menzies tried to approach her to ask a question, and then he got arrested, and she just went, oh, never mind. What she should have done if she was an actual real person, or a good person, or at least a decent person, she should have said, hey, this guy's just trying to ask me a question. Stop arresting him. He didn't touch me. He didn't threaten me. He's just approaching me to ask a question, which is what journalists and reporters are supposed to do. She looks like an ex-gymnast. She looks like a WEF member. That's what she looks like. I think that she is actually one of the people who likes Justin Trudeau. I mean, she's definitely a big part of the WEF too. I don't know if she was blackmailed or if she really is just that evil. I don't know. It's hard to tell sometimes. Let's see. See if I can find any updates here on. Let's see if Jagmeet Singh said anything stupid recently. He probably did. Every time he opens his mouth, he says something stupid. The RCMP is trying to get a law passed to prevent people from critiquing politicians. Yeah, that's sounds like China to me. Report Justin Trudeau and Jagmeet Singh have the lowest approval ratings of any Liberal or NDP leaders, respectively, in over 50 years, a new Angus Reid poll shows. The last time I saw Trudeau's approval rating, it was in the 20%. I mean, that right there should cause it. Like, that should trigger an election. The people are speaking. We don't want any more of this garbage coalition running our country. Remember, Jagmeet Singh isn't allowed into India because he's an extremist. I've heard of that. I've heard he can't go in there. I've also heard he can't get into the United States. I'm not sure if that's true, but imagine having a prime minister who couldn't even go to the United States. There was a video too of this. Did you guys see this? Let's just play this really quickly. It's a short video of someone. It looks like a neon yellow coat kind of mocking Jagmeet Singh, which I found hilarious.
Consumers. We want to tackle corporate greed, fend them. You Democrats are the only party with the courage to take on corporate greed. We want to put in place stiff penalties for any corporation that gouges or rips off Canadians. We want to have more protections in place for consumers. We want to tackle corporate greed, bring down the prices of food, fend them.
You Democrats we're all thinking when we hear Jagmeet Singh. Yeah, exactly. Which side of his mouth is he lying from today? Yeah, you're right. If this was happening in the Russian cabinet, it would be much more interesting. I'm so disgusted by this human. Yeah. And you know, being here in Hamilton, I'm not sure if you're familiar with that city, but it is like an NDP cesspool here. It's and we actually have a former NDP mayor too, Andrea Horwath. Not sure if you remember her. She used to be the leader of the NDP party. She's now the mayor of this city. And as soon as she's come into office, which I believe is about I don't know, a year and a half or so ago, more tent cities. Housing is still expensive. We lost bus service for about a week because she wouldn't renegotiate with the union and give them higher wages. So they went on strike. A week later, she eventually caved. Now, what's interesting about that is she wasn't affected by that. It's just the people she governs. The average middle-class people who need buses to get to the grocery store, to get to work. Every day she said, screw you. We don't want to give people money. We don't want to give people competitive wages. And the union said, well, we got all the leverage and you need us, so we're going to hold out until you pay us. And it worked. Most of us don't have that leverage. Someone calls you a sheep and you scream homophobia. I had no idea. Yeah. Very true. Many are right in bed with the government. Yeah, Jagmeet's he's in bed with Trudeau and he's trying to get his pension out of it, and it looks like it's gonna work, unfortunately. All right, so I think that's going to be it for the stream today. I don't really have anything else to cover, but I'll definitely talk to you on X later on. I'll send you a message. And thanks for everybody who tuned in. And I'll probably be streaming again sometime this week. I'll definitely post a notification up as well. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I hope that you have a great night.